Today I'd like to share with you one of my favorite stories called Grandma's Scrapbook by local author Josephine Nabisso. It's a story about a little girl who loves spending the summer at the seashore with her grandmother. The first pages are of me as a baby, looking dopey before I fall asleep, and silly as I yawn, and like a monkey with ears so big and a coconut head so bald. Here's a tiny envelope with wisps of baby hair in it, and beside it a braided lock of Grandma's hair, black as crows. Here I am in my stroller. Grandma used to push me through the garden. I would grab at the flowers as we passed, until Grandma managed to teach me how to sniff one just right. She saved that faded flower, pressing it between the pages of the scrapbook. I'm older and leaves. Just looking brings back the smell of salt air in her backyard, and of crushed grass, and of fishy bay mud on Bella's paws. I can hear the frogs and the crickets, and the water lapping against the shore. From the dock we watched red evenings turn into black nights. Then Grandma would call every star she knew by name. The next thing I knew, it was morning, and I was under my quilt in my room at Grandma's. She'd carry me in all by herself. In the scrapbook, she saved a seashell I'd once clasped in my hand. Here we are another year in bathing suits and hats, me all arms and legs, and Grandma a natural beauty. We're having cocoa in fancy chipped cups, being proper and very giddy. She rode me on the back of her bicycle, and in the village we bought a picnic lunch. How far to the ocean? I asked. 1/2 mile as the crow flies, Grandma told me. She pedaled to the edge of the field, and we watched the bright blue skies for a crow. A seagull flapped by instead. Grandma shrugged and said, "It's not a crow, but it'll know the way." She followed it, swerving to avoid the gopher hole. Then the bird turned and flew the other way. "Hey!" Grandma called, laughing and shaking her fist at the sky. "Where are you taking us?" But already I could hear the waves roaring as they broke and sighing as they slid back into the sea. And already I could see the bridge. That way, Grandma!" I cried. At each wave, Grandma lifted me over her head, taking a dunking herself. She sputtered as she came up, and I squealed the next warning, a wave, so that she could bob and dance with the ocean's rolls. "A wave," I called to the gold. She took me shopping. I picked funny face mugs for my parents, a maw and a paw, and I got a reflecting heart for Bella's collar, and a sparkling ring bigger than an acorn for Grandma. This was the year she bought me my own camera. We took nutty shots of each other, and this one of Bella wearing my sunglasses. Then we rode the dirt path home through the woods, breaking their silence with our crackling. When it cooled in the evening, we picked garden greens for dinner and flowers for the table. Sometimes Grandma's friends came, and we all howled songs around the piano. She'd send everyone home early because there's a child in the house, and sometimes she'd take up the scrapbook. "What times we've had," I told her. "Yes," she agreed. "Every year we change and grow." And the scrapbook was making everything more precious, as though without it, some of our memories would be lost. At night, Grandma read to me from my favorite books on her shelves. Sometimes I fell asleep dreaming about the rolling, rushing sea. A wave, a wave. My parents couldn't come pick me up one year, and I wanted to ride the train alone. "I've grown big enough," I told Grandma. "I believe you have," she agreed. When it was time to say goodbye, the sting from my sunburned cheeks worked itself into my eyes. "See you next year, Grandma," I told her through my tears, "and it will be even better." Every year is better, she whispered into my hair, black as crows like hers used to be. Through the train window I took this picture of Grandma on the platform, waving her acorn diamond ring, sparkling a goodbye. Every year was better for years and years, and last year when I woke up at Grandma's house, I took her for a stroll in her wheelchair. I walked her through the paths of the woods and around the gopher holes in the field. I brought her to the water's edge so that she could feel the pulse of the waves on her feet. We rode the garden rows, picking the greens we needed, and overflowing her lap with firm, fresh flowers. And even though I collected for the scrapbook all summer long, there were still a lot of blank pages left when Grandma died. Grandma started that scrapbook because once I was too young to remember, and because one day I may get too old to remember. My grandma's gone this year, but somehow she remains, keeping them from forgetting. And sometimes when I'm all by myself and dreaming of the sea, I can almost feel her right here beside me, filling in the blank pages of my life, her sparkling ring glinting off my hair, black as crows,